Can someone be in two places at once? Throughout history, there have been strange accounts of individuals who have done just that, somehow managing to bend and subvert the laws of reality to literally exist in two places at the same time. The words for this eerie phenomena is called bilocation or Vardoga. Are there potential powers and forces at work around us that are far from being fully understood? The following 5 stories will really spook you, and maybe you have had a similar experience. Story number 5. My daughter had gone to a birthday celebration about 45 minutes away. The next day, we'd planned to go shopping together. Around 10 in the evening, I get ready for bed. My husband had already gone to bed 20 minutes earlier, and by the time I got into bed, he was snoring as he usually goes off to sleep as soon as his head hits the pillow. I'm not so lucky, and it takes me a while to fall asleep. I'd been in bed about 5 minutes when the bedroom door opened. The hall light was on and I could see clearly it was my daughter, Jessica, standing in the doorway, just staring at me. I thought she must have gotten back from the party. She was a solid form and just looked normal. But I found it odd that she wasn't speaking to me and had a tint of bluishness in her face, but thought it was just the darkness of my room reflecting on her complexion. She had a blank expression on her face and her eyes were wide and just staring. I decided I'd just talk to her and I said, "It's late, you better get some sleep. We have a big day tomorrow." She responded and said, "I know," and closed the door and left. Then as I lay thinking, I thought there were a few more things I wanted to say to her before she went to bed. I immediately got out of bed only to find she was nowhere in the house. At that point I was very angry, thinking she must have gone out again. I called the cell phone and she picked up, surprised by my anger. She insisted that she had never been home and was still at the birthday party. I didn't believe her and asked to speak to the mother of the teenager having the party in her home. She came on the phone and confirmed that Jessica was there and had been there the entire evening. I then asked the mother if I could talk to my daughter on their landline, and Jessica picked up. I was floored. How could this be? How could she still be at the party that was 45 minutes away, yet I saw her in my bedroom doorway no more than 10 minutes earlier? It is complete impossibility. I could not explain it. Story number 4. A mother was looking out of a window one morning and noticed that her daughter Caroline was walking outside. She said her hair was clipped back and she was wearing a greyish blue coat. She says she was no more than 10 feet from the window. She walked slowly and serenely past me like she was really enjoying the outdoors. I thought it was odd that she would be outside already, as all of my children usually sleep in on the weekend. I wasn't too concerned about it and walked to the other side of the house and started watching TV for a while, and then after that went outside to do some gardening. Caroline then came down the stairs. She was in her bedclothes and groggy. I asked her what she was doing outside earlier, and she looked surprised and said that she'd just woken up and had not been outside at all. I also suddenly realised that she did not own a coat that is greyish blue. Caroline is a little girl with red hair. She's very hard to miss. I thought maybe I saw someone else, but we didn't have any neighbours that close and none that have red hair. I thought that maybe Caroline sleepwalked, got herself ready for the day and then went outside with someone else's coat. I cannot explain it. Story number 3. I was sitting at my computer in our living room waiting for my boyfriend to come home from work. It should be noted that we have 2 greyhounds and they can tell when one of us comes home or is walking up the stairs to our apartment. They both get very excited and will stand at the door until we come in. From my computer area, I can't see the front door, and around 6:40 p.m, both pups get up excited and stand by the door. I heard the door open and close, and both dogs stay standing by the door. I didn't go and greet him because I was busy doing homework, and besides, he usually comes in to say hello. A couple of minutes pass, and our dogs lay back down, and he doesn't come in. I get up to check, and he isn't anywhere to be seen. I thought he was playing a prank on me, but about 10 minutes after that, he came in, and the dogs got all excited again. I asked him if he'd come in a few minutes earlier and then went back out to his car to get something he might have forgotten. He just kind of looked at me weird and said that he was just getting home. Story number 2. It was late. I just climbed into bed and was worried that I would not be able to fall asleep, as I was not particularly tired. Then all of those silly thoughts started to come into my mind when you can't sleep. Suddenly, I heard my squeaky bedroom door being slightly opened. As I turned my head towards the door, someone poked his head inside my room, and with the glow of the lights coming through the window, I could see it was my brother's head. It was clearly him, with his long and messy hair and unshaven face. He was silently staring at me and smiling. After a few seconds, I sat up and gestured to him to tell me what he wanted, but no response came. I then asked him, "What?" Nothing. He just stared at me, blankly, motionless. I thought nothing of it. I knew him. He sometimes could be weird, and often did these kinds of things to me. I got tired of his silliness and turned on my bedside lamp. But when the light filled the room, in an instant, the door turned out to be closed, and nobody was there. I sat there in shock, tense, listening for movement in the next room. Nothing. I wasn't crazy or dreaming. My brother opened my door and poked his head inside, or someone just like him. I know it wasn't an hallucination. I wasn't sleepy at all. The door couldn't have been closed silently this fast. It was impossible. I turned the light back off and covered myself with my blanket to protect me from whatever it was that I saw. The next morning I told my brother the story, and he was genuinely surprised. He told me he didn't pay me a visit the night before, and I could see the sincerity in his eyes. I truly believed him. To this day, I have no idea what happened that night in my room. I know I wasn't asleep, that it was no dream. I had just gotten into bed, only minutes passed. I was too awake, so who had paid me a visit that night? Story number 1. Once I was waiting for my mum to come back home, as she'd gone to my uncle's with a best friend Elaine. I decided to stay home and watch a movie. About 20 minutes or so later, I hear a loud knock at the front door. I answer the door, and my mum is outside the porch door and motions for me to come outside, and then she points to the car. I notice that her friend Elaine isn't with her. I thought maybe she'd stopped at the store and she wanted me to help her with the bags. I was going to go straight outside, but for whatever reason, I needed to change my shoes. When I came back, she was gone. At this point, I reasoned she was just pissed that I had taken too long and left. My mother had a very short temper. I go back to watching TV, and when the phone rings, it's my mother. She's calling from my uncle's house, and I can hear the cousins in the background. Tells me that the car won't start and to please take such and such out of the freezer for dinner. I often wondered what would have happened if I'd stepped outside. What would have happened? It's a really scary thought.